when I really think about why I do something, it always ends up, the answer is because I love myself. Sounds selfish, right? What do you say? I think that's a good way to be selfish. Because if I don't love myself, can I love anybody else? I don't think so. And you can see that my thoughts are mostly very unconventional. I don't force myself to do something that I don't believe. So whatever I do it because I believe it. And whatever I do it because I love it. So my motivation comes from my positive attitude and love for it. So sometimes people do good things because they want good results, which is very good. And most people avoid doing bad things, bad deeds, because they are afraid of the bad results. That is also very good. But I do mostly good things because I love to do it. It doesn't matter whether I get any results or not. But I believe that good deeds, good actions brings good results. I believe that. But even though it doesn't bring any result for me, I will still do it because I just love to do it. And I try my best not to do evil, because that's what the Buddha taught. Not because I'm afraid of the evil consequences. Not only because if I get evil consequences, well, surely I'm afraid of that too. But avoiding doing evil deeds, the motivation for avoiding evil deeds is not fear for me. I don't want to be an evil person. That's my motivation. I want to be a good person. So, most of what I do comes from positive motivation. So if you are not thinking too much about the consequences, but you do good deeds because you love to do good, because you want to be a good person, and you avoid doing evil deeds, bad things, because you don't want to be a bad person. Which means, I love myself too much. I want to be a good person. I love myself. So, when I really think about why I do something, it always ends up, the answer is because I love myself. Sounds selfish, right? What do you say? I think that's a good way to be selfish. Because if I don't love myself, can I love anybody else? I don't think so. You have read Metta Sutta and you practice Metta meditation too. Who do you begin with? You begin with yourself. So, only when we love ourselves, then we love other people. And only when we really love ourselves, then we do good deeds and avoid bad deeds. So all of my motivations comes from self-love. And some people say that, well, that's very selfish. And I believe that that's a very good way to be selfish. So when I wrote that book, Snow in the Summer, actually I did not write the book. I wrote letters to my friends. They asked me questions. Sometimes they asked me how I was living. So whenever I have some time, I'll just sit and relax in the shade under a tree, or sometimes in the shade of my little cabin, and I'll think of them lovingly, send them metta, and then slowly I write one word after another. And those friends who have those letters, They love my letters just because I wrote in a very good handwriting. And they can feel that I wrote those letters with love, with metta. And I wrote with real honesty. That's why sometimes I'm afraid that when people read my book, they'll find out too much about me. I'm a very conventional man, I know that. Since I was very young, I've always been very unconventional. I don't follow anybody's demand. And I don't like people giving me too much incentives to do good things. For example, sometimes my parents told me that if you pass the exam with good grades, we'll give you presents. I said, I don't want the present. If you give me the present, I won't study anymore. I study because I love knowledge so much. Sometimes I can't even sleep because I want to know. So that is my strongest motivation, and I wrote about that in this book, Snow in the Summer. My strongest motivation in my life is love of knowledge. I want to know. And I really want to test whether something is true or not. So I studied engineering, and I learned I studied science and engineering. I learned how scientists think. I don't try to remember their theories and formulas only, but I try to find out how scientists think. I think that's what students need to learn. How to think like a scientist. That is education, not remembering all the formulas and theories. So since I was very young, I questioned everything and everybody. Sometimes my parents and my teachers got very upset because I questioned too much. I asked too many questions and they could not answer the questions. So this DMG books, I have already published one of my books, but actually one book in 2 languages, in English and also in Thai translation. And we are planning to publish another book. I want to call it My Mind is My Friend. And I'm going to give you the gist of the idea of that book. And this is also an unconventional idea, because I am more interested in unconventional ideas, I think. I like to read books. Since I was about 10 years, I started reading books from the libraries. And because I read books from the libraries, I get to read all kinds of books. And I was exposed to many different kinds of ideas in religions and philosophies and psychology, history, culture. Very interesting. I was stimulated by many different ideas. And because I read so many books, many times I have very conflicting ideas in my mind. I cannot decide which one is good or which one is bad, which is right or which is wrong. So it took me a long, long time to decide what is right and what is wrong. What is conventional, what is not conventional. And I think that keeps me awake all the time. I challenge myself all the time. So that book is based on a poem. I call it a poem. It was written by a Japanese samurai. Very unconventional. How can a samurai write a Dhamma poem? You may ask. But please be patient. You can find different versions of the same poem if you search in the internet. This is the simplest version, and I like it very much because it is very simple. Because it is written as a poem, it uses many metaphors and images. And poems have very few words, but the meaning is very deep. You need to take a long time. You need to read it again and again and mold over into your mind and leave it for a while and then read it again and think about it again. So at first, when I first got this poem, even the first verse made me think a lot. And many times I thought, I don't like it. But it is very strange. When you don't like something, it's very hard to forget it. For me at least, it is true. I keep thinking about the same poem, and then I will pick up again and read it again, and I got more interested. So after I have read that poem many times and thought about it for a long, long time, I was so excited of the meaning that I wanted to talk about it. So I talk about this poem many, many times already. Are you interested now already? It's very thought-provoking. I'll read you the first line. The first line is, I have no parents. No parents. Impossible. That's why it is very interesting. Now I'm going to read the second line. The first line is, I have no parents. The second line is, I make the heavens and earth my parents. I make the heavens and earth my parents. What does that mean? I have no parents. I make the heavens and earth my parents. So now you have heard the poem, the first verse. Can you forget it? No. That's how it is powerful. That's a very powerful poem because you cannot forget it. You may like it or you may not like it, but you will not forget it. So what does heavens and earth means? Heavens and earth means the whole universe. Taken together, it means the whole universe. It means nature. And in Chinese culture also, they talk of heavens and earth as nature. So heavens and earth created everything. So when I thought about it, I thought, well, heavens and earth, it's the whole universe. It's nature. So nature has given birth to us. Is that wrong or right? It's right. The whole universe gave birth to me. Not only my parents. My parents themselves cannot do that. My parents are themselves children of the whole universe. The whole universe and nature, and I kept thinking about it. In Burmese, we have a saying that, I will say that in Burmese language. Kanda Ami, Kanda Apa. Ami means mother. Apa means father. Ka means karma. Karma means deeds, your thoughts, what you think, what you say, and what you do, all that is karma. All your deeds are your father. Only your deeds are your father. And all your deeds are your mother. So we are children of our own karma. Oh, very interesting. So to get this life, of course our parents contributed their part, but our parents are not the sufficient cause. The main cause for us to be a human being here is our own karma. So my karma is my parents. Isn't that true? In a way? In a deeper meaning? Yeah. So we must be very careful of karma. We are still creating ourselves. I feel it that way very much. Whatever I think creates myself, change myself. So I'm creating myself, I'm changing myself all the time by what I think, what I say, and what I do. So deeper meaning of this verse is that karma is our parents, nature is our parents. The whole universe is our parents. Without the whole universe, there won't be this world, because this world is part of the universe. And without the whole universe and this world, we won't have a place to stay. So our parents are not the only sufficient cause to give birth to us. The whole universe taken together is the cause of us. So when you think about it, it makes you feel connected with the whole universe. And that feeling is really amazing. It's a very wonderful feeling.